Hi everyone, back to our YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the Room Has It video. We'll talk about players linked to the football club this transfer window. This summer, we're going to be linked to so many names. You're going to need a phone book to write them down. There's loads of players linked to Newcastle. Some true, some not true. We don't do ITK here. We just talk about the names being linked in the media, running through Mark Superduper Stat Computer and tell you how we think they maybe will or won't fit into the Newcastle United situation. So we're going to get stuck right into this player in a minute. A little reminder, as we always say before we crack on, if you haven't already smashed subscribe, we'd love to come and join us. We're pushing close to that 8,000 subscriber mark. That's where we want to be for the start of the season, guys. So help get us there. We're only a couple of hundred away from it. Smash that button. Help us get there. Recommend us to family and friends. It's all free content, nevermore. But if you want to give a bit back to the channel, there is a membership option down there below. You get early access to videos just like this and some good giveaways as well. We haven't done a good giveaway in a while. I think we're going to do a giveaway very soon to the members. So smash that button and be a member, and you could be in it to win it with some of the prizes we've got stashed away in the Evermore locker somewhere. So, right, let's get stuck in. Who am I talking about today? I'm talking about a very skillful winger who does remind me a lot of another Premier League player, and that might be one of the reasons why I'm not sure whether we should go for him if it is an option. But I'm going to get stuck right into this now. Here is the lad I'm talking about. It's Noni Madueke, who plays for Chelsea. Now, no doubt this kid has quality. He's got ability. There's no question about that whatsoever. I'm going to get into the bad things about Madueke in a minute and the things that put me off him. But let's look at the stats. My word, look at that. It's all greens, really, isn't it? So how could it be a bad thing? And look how he compares to Miguel Almiron on the radar group. We keep doing this to Miggy, Mark. You keep kicking this poor lad while he's down. But it just kind of reiterates how poor Miggy is as a winger, to be honest. We've been looking at Madueke this season in terms of his Chelsea stats. So 23 appearances, 5 goals, puts him in a really high percentile for the goals scored for wingers in his position, but only 2 assists. Assists are quite low. Now, I want a few more assists from my winger, but in this defence, Chelsea haven't really been playing with so much of a number 9 most of the season, so that's probably why the wingers' stats are a little bit shit in the Chelsea shirt. You put him in the same team as Alexander Isak, for example, or even a Callum Wilson when he's fit, and those assists might rocket right up through the roof, to be fair. But consistency there. He has been fit for a large part of the season, and he has played for a large part of the season. Now, Madueke is a player. He's quick, he's skillful, he's strong. He doesn't mind shooting from range as well. He can split a defense with his pass. He's got a little bit of arrogance about him, and I think you can look at that one way or the other. Now, who he reminds me of a lot is a young Wilfred Zaha, and kind of like what Zaha was like, in his younger part of his career. And he went to Manchester United, didn't quite work out for him. Now, Madueke went over to PSV on loan, which most Chelsea youngsters do. And much like Yankuba Minter, who's coming back this pre-season, he had an absolute belter of a loan spell over at PSV. 67 appearances, 13 goals and 10 assists. He tore up there at Divise. Then he came back to Chelsea, got the number 11 shirt, started to play. He played, I think, in the Young England under 21 setup as well with Anthony Gordon. He is a very, very good player. There's no doubt about that. The bit that worries me about Madueke is he looks a bit too cocky and a bit too much of a wild card for me. The big thing that sticks in my mind, and I cannot get my head out of it, is the Cole Palmer penalty situation where Madueke tried to steal a ball off Cole Palmer to put it in the back of the net when Cole Palmer basically scored every single penalty the kid's ever taken since he drew breath on this fucking planet. And Madueke still thought he was the man to get the penalty and score it. And I just didn't like it. It didn't fill me full of a great vibe of a player who's going to pass the famous no dickhead policy that friend of the channel PK put in place many, many moons ago. I just don't think that Madueke passes that. I think he's a bit of a cock. But in terms of a player, you can say that about what Anthony Gordon was when we signed him. We all had a misconception of Anthony Gordon, that he was this mouthy, shithead who started fights all the time, and he came to Newcastle and he couldn't be anything different. He's articulate, he's intelligent, he's thoughtful, he's considerate, but he's hardworking and he's a good player. So maybe Madueke could go the same way as Gordon. So there's a bit of good and a bit of bad in terms of Madueke. But looking at the stats there, you can see the goal shot ratio is good. Shots are good as well. He's in the high 70s. Shots on target, he's in the high 70s. Assists, again, is poor, as we said. The expected assist is much higher, though. Again, that backs up the fact they didn't really have a centre forward most of the time across to. Goal creation chances, decent pass completions right up there. It couldn't get much higher, really, in all fairness. Key passes a little bit lower. Touches in the area high. Progressive carries is a big one. I always say it. Only Joe Willock and Joe Linton really and Gordon do that. Carry the ball a distance for us. Madueke could be that kind of a player. Successful take-ons are good. As you can see, they're really, really high. Tackles, fair to Midland, for a player who's a bit more of a skillful show pony type player, and blocks, kind of halfway point. So in terms of what he could do, Madueke, I think He could track back and get stuck in as well. And he would have to, if he signed for Eddie Howe, he would have to be that kind of a player. He's got more quality on the ball than Miguel Almiron, no doubt about that. More skill, more ability to unlock a defense. Reminds me a lot of Wilfred Zaha, but I think the discipline is an issue as well. Zaha had that earlier on in his career. I think when he went to Man United, it didn't quite work, and he went back to Palace, and he became a much better player for it, a better goal scorer for it. But if Elise signs for Chelsea, this is the big domino to fall. Now, Newcastle are apparently interested in Michael Elise as well, which we've covered already, and he's an unbelievable player, £60 million release clause. If he goes to Chelsea, which is what everyone seems to think he's going to do, then Madueke is probably going to be someone who leaves the club to make way for Elise. Now, if we could get a Madueke for 25, 30 million quid, I think that's decent business. Now, there's other players out there like Emile Smith-Rowe that Arsenal want 30 million quid for, and Emile Smith-Rowe gets injured checking his mobile phone messages in the morning, sprains his thumb ligaments, and he's out for 9 weeks. You know, we don't need any more sick notes in the dressing room or in the treatment room, to be honest with you. Madueke, I think 25, 30 million quid would be good money spent, a good investment. A little bit similar to what we did when we signed Joe Willock, from Arsenal. And Joe Willock's been a good player for his injuries aside last season. The only thing that worries me, as I say, about Madueke is the attitude, is the arrogance. Will he unsettle the team? Will he be, Mr. Big Shot, cocksure, full of himself? Maybe everything we thought Gordon was going to be. Would Madueke be that player? Now, there's always a risk when you sign a player, and I know Eddie Howe and Tyndall and the rest of the guys that do their due diligence, and they'll make sure they sign the right player. So I don't think Madueke will get past boot camp if he's a complete bell end and they won't sign him. But there is a hell of a player in there with raw quality, pace, skill, strength, scores goals, assists. On paper, you think, yes, get him in. What a great winger he would be. But it's the attitude thing that worries me a little bit. The Cole Palmer pen, I just can't shift it. I'm sorry. I can't shift it. It was unforgivable for me. It was absolutely terrible. I know he's a young player. He's only 22 years old. And he's going to learn from that. But I don't like that kind of thing. We've got young 22-year-old players. We've got a 17-year-old in Louis Miley. You don't see players doing that in Newcastle shirts. So I didn't like that. But let us know in the comments below what you think about Madueke. Would you take him? Certainly for 25, 30 million quid? Or is there other wingers out there that you would rather have? Let us know in the comments below. We always like to hear from you. As I mentioned at the start, if you haven't subscribed, smash the button. Would love you to come join us. 8K before the season starts. That is the goal, guys. Come on. Please, I've just hit your microphone. Come on. Let's go. I'm not going to buy your microphone. This one still works, by the way. But I'd love you to subscribe anyway. And you can be a member as well. Get early access to these videos. I hope you're enjoying the Euros. We'll be back with some content through the summer until the season starts. Can't wait to see if we get some new players in through doors. Maybe this lad is one of them. Have a better, everyone. We'll catch you later. Cheers.